So what do I think is getting in at the Oscars next year in Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Original Screenplay? Hey guys, it's Brian. Welcome to the Awards Contender and welcome to my early Oscar predictions series. We have begun. Over the next few weeks, I will be predicting all of the top categories, including the acting categories, director, picture. We are beginning today with adapted and original screenplay. We're talking about all of the heavy hitters, the movies that can get into screenplay at the 98th Academy Awards. I'll touch on all of the big contenders, and then at the end of the video, I will give you my early Oscar predictions in adapted and original screenplay. Let's begin with adapted screenplay and one battle after another. I do think this is the frontrunner. Right now, it seems like one battle after another can win picture, director, and adapted screenplay, and maybe one acting category, potentially two. Right now, I'm seeing one, and I'll be talking about that in my Best Supporting Actor video coming up here. But in Best Adapted Screenplay, you could argue maybe one battle after another wins picture, director, but not screenplay here. Maybe adapted screenplay ultimately will go to Hamnet's. Hamnet, I do have in a close second place. It's a little bit more of like an awards-friendly movie to win an adapted screenplay. I can kind of see it. There are a few scenarios I can see play out at the Oscars next year in adapted screenplay. I could see a reality where Hamnet wins this, but one battle after another still wins picture and director. Like, that's possible. But in a close race, I do think this will ultimately go to one battle after another and Paul Thomas Anderson. He's going to have this overdue narrative, unlike many we've seen in the last few years. And it's like, they're not going to say, well, we'll give Anderson director, we can give adapted screenplay to someone else. Like, they don't vote like that. They're just going to vote for the movie they love in adapted screenplay and in director and picture and stuff. Like Oppenheimer, I can understand why that was never super competitive in screenplay a couple years back. That made sense. It was such an epic vision of a movie. It was easy to get behind picture and director and actor and supporting actor. The screenplay didn't have to win. I do think, on the other hand, if you love one battle after another, you're going to give it your vote in adapted screenplay. I just think it's going to win. So in the top two slots, I have one battle after another and Hamnet. What is number 3? Now things get interesting, guys, in adapted screenplay. It's kind of a limited field. Like, I'm not going to talk about 15, 20 movies here. It's like maybe 10, maybe even less than that. There's not much in adapted screenplay that looks viable to get in at the Oscars in this category. So in number 3, I have Wake Up Dead Man. I think Wake Up Dead Man is almost certainly getting in, mostly because I saw the film at TIFF, very much enjoyed it. I think by a hair, I prefer Wake Up Dead Man to the other two. It's really great. It's dropping on Netflix in December, a Prime Awards release date, and Rian Johnson has been Oscar nominated for the first 2 Knives Out screenplays. The first one in original screenplay, the second one in adapted. So why would Wake Up Dead Man not also get him in again in adapted screenplay? I mean, it might not be in third place at the end of the day. Maybe it's fourth or fifth. But especially because there's not like a ton of contenders here, I just think that's going to happen. That's going to be the big Oscar nomination for Wake Up Dead Man, unless it gets into an acting category or something. We'll talk about that coming up here. I think adapted screenplay, there's absolutely room for Wake Up Dead Man. So I would have that in third place. After that, I don't know, guys. Like, a few things could happen here. Let's talk about the other big contenders for adapted screenplay. Frankenstein. Is that getting into screenplay? It's a possibility. It's such a famous novel, and the movie has been well regarded enough. Enough people really like it, where I do think it has a pretty good shot, actually, of getting into Best Picture. It's definitely going to receive a few technical nominations, at least 3 or 4, I think. So it's like, well, maybe it's 5th place. Maybe Frankenstein gets into screenplay. I have been flirting with this one all day. Like, I had it in at one point, and then I took it out. And like, in the moment right now, I'm still kind of like, I'm thinking about it. It would not surprise me if Frankenstein got into screenplay, like with Del Toro there, with the movie probably getting into picture. I could see that. Next up is Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, which I don't think is getting into screenplay. I don't even think it gets into picture. I think Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere, if that gets 2 like big nominations on the morning, it's going to be actor and supporting actor. It's going to play like The Apprentice, right? Not get in anywhere else but the acting categories, maybe just one acting category, I'm not sure. Like the word of mouth for that film seems to be fading with each passing week. I am just days away from seeing it. I will have a review for you coming up here. A Complete Unknown overperformed, of course, got into screenplay, got into director. I don't think Springsteen is going to do that well. Like, it's not going to happen. But like, it could get into screenplay. It's not impossible, you know, because of the limited field. If that movie comes on strong right when it needs to, like maybe, I don't have it in right now. Bugonia is next. Bugonia, man, like this one could also go a number of ways. I could see Bugonia like not getting anything. Maybe a technical nomination and that's it. But then maybe it gets into picture. Maybe actress for Emma Stone. Maybe adapted screenplay. I feel like this movie could miss picture and actress, like the acting categories, and still like slip into adapted screenplay because enough people really like it and love it. You know, as I get closer to seeing it, I'm just a few days away from seeing Bugonia as well. You know, I'm excited. I feel like I'm going to like it, and a lot of people I trust have really enjoyed it. So it would be odd for me if a new Yorgos Lanthimos movie starring Emma Stone does not get in anywhere big at the Oscars. I think it's going to. This is not going to play like Kinds of Kindness. There is enough passion for Bugonia that it's probably going to get into adapted screenplay no matter what happens. So like, yeah, I'm feeling better about that one as the days go along. You have Wicked for Good. The first Wicked did not get into screenplay. If this movie just overperforms in every way, it's a huge hit. Like the critics and audiences just adore this movie. And enough Academy voters say it's time to give Wicked for Good, the entire Wicked story, its flowers, and maybe get it into screenplay in a limited field. It would not be the shocker of the decade. I don't know, though. It's hard for a musical to get into screenplay. It doesn't happen very often. And because they didn't nominate the first one, I don't think they're going to nominate the second one. I feel like the only way Wicked for Good gets into adapted screenplay is if the movie just overperforms on Oscar nominations morning, gets into director, gets into like 2 or 3 categories we were not expecting, best supporting actor for Jonathan Bailey or something, and then it slips into adapted screenplay. Like, I would say there's like a 0.5% chance of that happening. There's been some talk about Nuremberg, which played at TIFF. I have not seen it. I've heard mixed things. Some people really like that one. And there is this feeling like, are we all ignoring Nuremberg? Is that going to do better on Oscar nominations morning than we're expecting right now? I don't have it in anywhere. I don't think it's going to be a player, but because enough people have liked it, have shared that it could be an awards contender, I felt like I had to mention it here, even though I feel like if that got into one big category, it's probably not adapted screenplay. You also have Train Dreams, which premiered at Sundance. It's a very quiet film, but it has loads of passion. It has really stayed strong all throughout the year. Like, it played at TIFF to rave reviews. Like, I was reading a ton of stuff about Train Dreams at TIFF. Netflix has it. It's coming out in a few weeks on Netflix. And they have a few movies right now, a few awards contenders. They're probably going to wait and see, like, you know, in the first couple Golden Globes and Critics' Choice, which one is going to take off the most early on in award season. And if Train Dreams isn't a part of that, then they'll probably let it die. I think it has a really good shot at cinematography, maybe one other Oscar nomination, but kind of like with Nuremberg, I don't think it gets into screenplay. I would nominate that film in this category. I still very much believe if The Life of Chuck had opened in December of 2024, it probably would have made it into screenplay. You know, maybe nothing else, but screenplay was on the table for Mike Flanagan, one of my favorites. But that movie crashed and burned in June. It didn't even open in my town. and it just quickly went away. Nobody's really talking about it anymore. So that's too bad. I really wanted to see Mike Flanagan get an Oscar nomination for a Stephen King adaptation. That would have been cool, but I just don't think it's on the table anymore. There's one more film to talk about here in Best Adapted Screenplay. As of this moment, maybe I'm forgetting a couple that maybe could be in the conversation. I think the other big contender in this category is No Other Choice, which is frickin' phenomenal. One of my favorites I saw at TIFF. And Park Chan-wook has never received an Oscar nomination. I mean, he's gotta be one of the best directors working today who's never been Oscar nominated in director or screenplay. It seems like this is his moment. This movie is too good to ignore, and even if he doesn't make it into director, he can get into screenplay. I do think No Other Choice has a pretty good shot, actually, of getting that 9th or 10th place slot in picture. It's that strong of a movie, and so especially if it gets into picture, I think it can also get into adapted screenplay. And I don't know about you guys, if they say Park Chan-wook's name on Oscar nominations morning in January, I am going to freak out. That's going to be a moment. So that's all I really have to say about adapted screenplay. Again, there's not too many contenders, right? I assumed I'd have 5 more movies to talk about, but there's not much. There are more contenders in original screenplay. Let's move on to that category. Begin by talking about Sinners, which I still have in first right now. In original screenplay, I think Ryan Coogler can win that. I think Sinners probably doesn't win picture director anymore. There was definitely the possibility, but then we all saw one battle after another. And I do think, guys, as of this moment, it's going to be hard for any movie. Sinners, Sentimental Value, Hamnet, all of them, it's going to be hard for them to beat one battle after another in picture, director, and screenplay. It is. And so for that reason, I am very thankful that Sinners is an original screenplay, right? I'm thankful that One Battle After Another isn't also original. Then it would be I guess Hamnet takes adapted and One Battle takes original. With One Battle in adapted, that means Sinners can win something big, can win an Academy Award for the great Ryan Coogler. That's probably the only big trophy that movie can win, and it would be so well deserved. I do have that in first place right now. We'll see what happens at those first 2 ceremonies. We'll see how the movie shakes out in December, early January. If Sinners is underperforming all over the place, then maybe first place will not be Sinners, but Sentimental Value. That's the other film I have here in the top 2. Sentimental Value is such a special film. I saw that at TIFF, and it's definitely a screenplay movie. The screenplay of that film is what makes it so beautiful from moment to moment. The dialogue, the characterization. Can it win over Sinners? I don't know. Maybe. I would say it's close. It's definitely getting in. And then the third place slots I would give to Marty Supreme. Marty Supreme is definitely getting into screenplay after it premiered at the New York Film Festival to rave reviews, rapturous reviews from everybody talking about how much they love the film, the Timothée Chalamet performance. I mean, maybe the screenplay isn't your go-to, we have to nominate it at the Oscars in screenplay. But just based on everything I've read about this movie, heard about it, I think it's going to get into picture, probably director, definitely actor, maybe one other acting category. And then it's going to get into original screenplay too. That's going to happen. If it's in picture, director, actor, it's not going to miss screenplay. I wouldn't have it in 4th or 5th. I would have it in 3rd. I think those are the 3 movies contending for original screenplay that are basically for sure, absolutely happening. Slots 4 and 5 are a bit more up for grabs. I have my thoughts right now, what might get in there. So let's talk about the other contenders. A House of Dynamite, directed by Catherine Bigelow. How well is that going to do on Oscar nominations morning? It is not clear to me right now. Some people really love it. I've heard more lukewarm receptions over the last few weeks. I, of course, will finally get to see it in a few days when it drops on Netflix. Right now, I get the sense it might barely miss picture. It's not getting into director. It's not getting into an acting category. But can it get into screenplay? I think if it was adapted, I think if A House of Dynamite was adapted, it could probably get in there. But original screenplay, it's crowded enough. I don't know. September 5 last year, that really came up with nothing on Oscar nominations morning except original screenplay. It got in there. The lone nomination, that could also be a House of Dynamite. Maybe it gets like editing 2 or something. It gets 2 nominations. So it's like 6th place for me right now. I have it floating around 6th place. I don't have it in. Maybe after I finally watch the film, maybe if I love it, I will slip it back in like 4th or 5th place or something. But right now, yeah, I do have it missing. The Testament of Anne Lee, I need to mention here, even though I don't think that gets into screenplay, I don't think it gets into picture. The big play for that film in the top categories is going to be Best Actress for Amanda Seyfried. I think she has a very good shot. She's in 4th or 5th place right now. I can see that happening even if the movie misses picture, director, screenplay. She is strong enough in that. It's divisive. Not everybody is going to love the film, but pretty much everybody is going to get behind the Amanda Seyfried performance. So I think she's probably getting in, especially now with Searchlight behind the movie, bringing it out in December. That's a good sign. I could see it getting into screenplay. The Brutalist got into screenplay, right? I just think because The Testament of Anne Lee is a musical, and it's not super successful in the second half. It's not as good in the second half as it is in the first. That wasn't the case for The Brutalist. That movie was fantastic all the way through. So yeah, I think Amanda Seyfried has a really good shot, but not the screenplay. Jay Kelly feels pretty certain, right? Jay Kelly is getting into original screenplay. Even if it misses picture, even if it barely misses that, it doesn't get into director, maybe it shows up in 1 or 2 acting categories. I just think Noah Baumbach, he's gotten into screenplay many times before, right? At least 3 times now. And the movie is well liked enough. I just think he's probably getting into screenplay for that film. I think it's going to do semi-well throughout the season. It's not going to overperform ever, but it's likely going to do well enough to get into original screenplay. I'm definitely predicting it right now. I think it would be silly at this moment to say, no, that's not getting into any major top category. Netflix is dropping it in early December, and that director and that cast, I'm just it's going to at least get into screenplay, right? Right? Is this thing on? I have been keeping an eye on that one the last few weeks. It finally premiered at the New York Film Festival. 2 good, not great reviews. I'm getting the sense that it's a movie most everybody is liking, but it's not really going to be an Oscars film. And that's okay. Not everything that comes out between September and December that has some awards caliber aspects to it, it's Bradley Cooper and Laura Dern, and there are some things about that movie. It's Searchlights, it's a fall release. You could say, well, maybe it can get into screenplay. Maybe it shows up in that category, one other, an acting category or something, and that's it. It's not impossible. I'm not going to disregard it completely right now, but I'm just getting the sense, from the reviews, that we're not super raves, they were good, not great. I don't think it gets into screenplay. I am just hours away, guys, from finally seeing After the Hunt, which I am not going to be walking into with the highest of expectations. If I had been a part of the first audience way back in August at Venice, seeing After the Hunt, I would have been so excited, right? I would have been on cloud 9. Luca Guadagnino, Julia Roberts, Andrew Garfield, Io Adebari, the list goes on and on. And now I'm finally about to see it, and I'm I hope it's not terrible, I hope I like it well enough. It's not going to be an awards movie at this point. I just, the word of mouth for After the Hunt has been pretty abysmal since August. I think the only shot that movie has at this point is Best Actress, Julia Roberts, and it's not looking very good. So it's definitely not getting into screenplay. 2 of my favorites from earlier in the year, Sorry Baby and Materialists. I floated those getting into original screenplay. I think they both deserve it. Especially Sorry Baby. It's such a unique script. It was the best film I saw at Sundance. I was if a good studio takes that movie on and they don't fumble the release, that gets in front of the people that need to see it, awards voters and everybody, maybe Sorry Baby has a shot of getting into Best Original Screenplay at the Oscars. But like, that movie opened in late June, July, it just came and went. I haven't heard much about it, but I just think it's too small of a film at this point to get into Best Original Screenplay. I hope it gets nominated somewhere throughout the season. Like anytime I see Sorry Baby nominated for something anywhere, I will celebrate. Materialists, I'm a huge fan of Celine's song. Past Lives is one of my favorite films of the decade, and I really love Materialists too. I think she did a great job on that screenplay, but enough people have been too lukewarm on that movie in the last few months. That's definitely not going to happen. Weapons. My other favorite film of the year I have not talked about yet in this video. I gave that thing a 10 out of 10. I loved Weapons. It has such a great screenplay, and it deserves an Oscar nomination there. Can it happen? It's possible, like in the 5th place slot, if we got a big surprise on Oscar nominations morning, something that just like comes out of nowhere, I do think it would be Weapons in original screenplay, especially if Amy Madigan gets into supporting actress and the film gets into makeup. And like, there's enough love in the Academy for that film, it's not going to get into picture. I would be really surprised to see that happen. But maybe it could slip into original screenplay in the 5th place slots. I would have that around 7th or 8th place right now. I'm definitely not predicting it here. But if that were to happen, I'm not going to care that I got that prediction wrong in my October screenplay video. I am going to jump for frickin' joy. I am going to go absolutely berserk if Weapons gets into screenplay. That would be really cool. The Secret Agent could maybe get into screenplay if there's enough love for that movie. If it like somehow slips into picture, let's say. It gets into actor for Wagner Moura, which I think is a distinct possibility, actually. I think he has a very good shot of getting into actor. It has such a complex narrative. The film is almost 3 hours long. Maybe it can get into original screenplay. It wouldn't be impossible. Like, I could see that happening. Neon is a tricky beast this year because they also have Sentimental Value and No Other Choice, and It Was Just an Accident. And I think, as of this moment, if there's one Neon film that can do really well outside of Sentimental Value on Oscar nominations morning, It Was Just an Accident. The winner of the Palme d'Or at Cannes in May. I saw this film at TIFF, and it is extraordinary. It's really great, Some people might be turned off by it being like a foreign film, subtitled, whatever. I think It Was Just an Accident is strong enough of a movie to get into picture, into director, and into original screenplay. I don't think it gets an acting nomination. That would surprise me. I don't see it getting any technical nominations, like maybe editing or something, but it's definitely getting into picture, I feel. It's not even in like slot 9 or 10. I would have it in like 6 or 7 right now. I think it's getting into picture. Director looks pretty good. I think Jafar Panahi is getting into director for that. And if that happens, which I'm feeling pretty good about, how does it miss original screenplay? It would also get into screenplay. I don't think it can win there, but it's probably in 4th or 5th place, especially the ending of It Was Just an Accident. Like, I have not forgotten about that ending. It's one of those scenes, those moments of everything I saw at TIFF a few weeks ago that has lingered in my mind, and I think that's going to be the same way for most people who watch it. I think that movie is going to do well. It's getting into picture, director, and original screenplay. I'm almost certain of it. And boy, that'll be so well deserved. So finally, at the end of this video, let me give you my early Oscar predictions in Best Adapted Screenplay and Best Original Screenplay. Starting with Adapted, my early predictions are One Battle After Another, Hamnet, Wake Up Dead Man, Bugonia, and No Other Choice. And in original, my early predictions are Sinners, Sentimental Value, Marty Supreme, Jay Kelly, and It Was Just an Accident. Thanks so much for watching and subscribing, and let me know in the comments below, what are you currently predicting to get into Best Original Screenplay and Best Adapted Screenplay at the 98th Academy Awards, and stay tuned for my early predictions in Best Supporting Actor. We'll see you next time at the Awards Contender.